created everything. Look what a powerful being you are. You did these things, but now you're in a human body, you forget the power you have.
Welcome to Metamystics, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan, and tonight is the live show. It's Wonder Wiz, I guess it's not Wiz Day, it's Saturday, which, I just want to say thank you for everybody joining in on a Saturday night. First of all, what are you doing with your lives? And secondly, I'm happy you decided to join. This is awesome. I'm really excited because tonight we have the psychic extraordinaire, Cassandra VanZant, also known as the Oracle. She is everybody's favorite. Welcome back to the show, Cassandra.
Hello. Hey, Taylor.
Yeah, really excited about this one. Man, I don't know about everybody else, but I feel like the world is just being turned up on side of its head. And I don't know. Is that an everybody thing or is that a me thing? But, like Cassandra, how's your life been over the past 2 months? Has it been all right?
It's been all right. There's been a lot of changes, lots of changes. I have a network now within Gnostic TV. So I've changed from the Elite Psychics to Intuitive Intelligence Network. So with that being said, I have switched up everything and I really, really love it. So it's been a lot of change, but one thing that has really changed in my environment. I live in Nevada. Okay, I'm like an hour from Reno. So Reno's up north, I'm down south.
Okay.
The last month and a half, we have been having earthquakes.
Oh,
yeah. 2 nights ago, at like 1:17 in the morning, I know that because I was woken up, that rumbling came through and it shook my house, it shook my bed, everything. And it's been happening like that. It was a 5 or 4.9. About 3 weeks before, there was a 5.4. And then we've been having all these other little earthquakes, I guess. But the 5s, holy shit, I've never been in an earthquake. I'm from Illinois, okay? That's the flatlands. And I thought, what is going on? And we continue to have them. So, yeah, little things have been shaking up around here.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wonder if it has anything to do with I guess there's a lot of activity going on with the sun, with like little solar flares and stuff like that. And also, I follow somebody who is like deep into the Schumann resonance, and she says Schumann resonance has been going like off the charts over the past few months. So I just wonder if it is something, and then you get into the whole Chris Bledsoe kind of prophecy deal that's going on there. And it makes me wonder, is 2026 the year that literally everything gets shaken just as you're, with your earthquakes?
I'm not sure if it's the year. I have a feeling that it is going to start. So it's gradually, little by little. It's not going to be all one change in, one day. I feel little by little. And the picture they're giving me, and this is probably not a good picture, is of a frog being put in the frying pan, and then, he's sitting there and the water's boiling, and then he eventually dies, because he doesn't realize that he's in hot water. So that's the thing that I'm looking at, and I don't like that. But it's better than seeing like a lobster being thrown in boiling water. So this is a gradual thing. That's the thing that I get. It's gradual. And I don't know what it's leading up to. But one thing that I can say is I'm not throwing fear around it. There's no need to be fearful.
Not today, baby.
Not today. Not even if you thought so.
Yeah. It's I feel like there are a lot of people that are throwing around a lot of fear, and I don't try and live in that, because people will say, well, I'm just trying to prepare myself. I'm just trying to get prepared for whenever. Let me tell you something. There have been preppers for like the last 60 years, and all of their food has spoiled, and their underground bunkers are probably starting to fill in. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a couple of packs of like heirloom seeds and maybe a couple of extra gallons of fresh water or something like that.
But just in case,
But is there going to be a nuke? First of all, there are some people that don't even believe in nukes, so I keep that on the back burner. And secondly, I have read so many stories about aliens intervening at, supposed detonated or where places were supposed to be nuked. And so I have faith that a nuke is not going to go off. Maybe that's a blind faith. Maybe that's a strong faith. But I don't think that the end of the world as we know it is going to be coming anytime soon.
Right. That's the fear mongering. Even here, there are so many people are coming up with so more conspiracy theories here because of the earthquakes. It's like, I don't want to hear it. It's an earthquake. I could sit there and waste my energy on, being afraid, or I can just say it's an earthquake and I'm protected.
Yeah.
So everything's supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen. And we die when we're supposed to die. And until then, the only thing we could do is just live in faith and trust and experience our lives.
Yeah. Work on your own shit, do a little shadow work, heal yourself a little bit. I can't stop direct energy weapons from striking all rooftops except for the blue roofs or whatever that was going on in Hawaii. And I'm very well aware of all the conspiracies out there. I did the conspiracy channel for 5 years, and I'm well aware of just about every conspiracy. And the internet would definitely have you believe that they're absolutely amping up. And of course, Epstein files haven't been released. I don't think they're ever personally going to be released, because then it'll, probably bring down the entire system. And, and the way I like to look at it is this is going to sound sad, but the first ever book series, like, that I ever read all the way through was The Hunger Games. And I always loved that series. Like, it was the first few books that I had read where I just couldn't put the book down and I needed to stay on it, right? And in the last book, there is like a revolution of sorts, and there's this new president that's trying to take over, and it's going to be a whole new world, and everything's going to be great. President Snow is no longer in charge, and they're getting rid of the Hunger Games and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then, Katniss ends up finding out that the new president or the new leader is going to be implementing a lot of shit that it's kind of like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of situation.
Right.
And she ends up shooting her in the head, and I'm here for that. But it's like, look, all the leaders that will ever lead are always going to be corrupt. If they're a politician, they're going to lie through their teeth no matter who they are, because that's what they had to do to get to that position. So in my opinion, I think it is absolutely silly that anybody relies on any politician to ever save you or anything like that.
Yeah. And also, if the government says that ETs are real, then they're real. I don't need the government to tell me that they're real.
Yeah, I knew about those a long time ago.
I know.
And if everybody forgets, it's like Roswell happened in like 1946 or 47 or something like that. They lied about it and made everybody seem absolutely crazy for like 70 years. Right. And now, maybe they're real. I don't know. You know, it's like the whole thing. But I think that they had to get to the point where they had to admit that they're real, because everybody has been going out at night and seeing orbs or crafts. I mean, crazy things have been happening at night, not only just with my own eyes going outside and looking up, but I've seen some absolutely insane videos that people have been getting lately. Now, I know that there is such a thing called AI, and you can't trust everything that you see on the internet. But that being said, there are certain people who they make a hobby out of going out every night and sky watching. And those people, I'm led to believe, are not doctoring the videos and stuff like that. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so grainy. You know what I mean? Like that whole kind of thing. I only believe in Bigfoot if he's blurry. If we start getting clear pictures of Bigfoot, I'm calling bullshit. You know what I
mean? You know, I've noticed that though, looking online, there have been a lot more legitimate sightings. And yes, when I look at some of these, I'll just go like, yeah, right. And then you look at some and you're, that's real. That is real. But they're getting more closer, more real. And it's not like just a little blip in the sky anymore, way up there. They're coming closer. So when they're coming closer, then, you know, obviously they're doing that for a reason. That's why I said I feel that anything that's happening is going to be gradual. It's not going to be, you know, in your face type of thing. And I feel the reason being is because there are a lot more people that need to be activated in order to have this mission accomplished. So there are people who have no clue that they're part of the solution because they haven't been activated. They haven't seen someone, or that part of them that was turned off hasn't yet, you know, been turned on. But I feel that there's a lot of people that still need that because we're all little pieces to the puzzle.
You know, I feel that whatever is going on in the world, or whatever, you know, wild, crazy event that's going to happen or will happen, you know, there have been plenty of people out there talking about the new Earth or the 5D Earth or something along those lines. The Bible mentions it a little bit. Dolores Cannon mentioned it plenty of times. And there's other people that are kind of channeling that kind of information. I think that whatever is going to happen, and this is where I think it gets so strange, and I put a lot of thought into this. Whenever it's going to happen, if it does, I feel like it's waiting for people, if that sounds strange. Like, I almost feel like it's like, this is not even to try and sound self-conceited or anything like that. But me on my own personal level, I'm like, well, I'm not to the point where I want to be in order to allow that to happen yet. And so maybe I'm just crazy, but I feel like it's almost like special per individual, if that makes sense.
It is. That's why I said there are people who are waiting to be activated. They may not know it, but the thing of it is not everyone has to be ready. Okay, your part comes when it's supposed to. So you could be think you're the least likely candidate, and then they use you in an amazing way.
Yeah.
And you're like, why? Because I don't know anything about this. I don't, you know, I haven't had any sightings. I haven't had any visitations. I haven't had anything, but it doesn't matter because the least likely, those are the ones that are going to bring more depth to what's happening than those who are out there in the spotlight. And that just came through. Okay. So I just want to let you know that one. That just came through. So
It's
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's almost like and not to even keep on quoting the Bible here, what's going on tonight, but those who will be first will be last kind of situation, you know? Maybe it's something along those lines. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is really strange. I think that there has to be a bit of humble pie eaten by a lot of spiritual people, you know, in a way. Like you almost
Yes.
have to be like Neo. He didn't believe that he was the one. He didn't believe that he was going to be the one to save the world. All
Right.
the way up until the end, he didn't believe that he was the one. He was
Right.
questioning whenever he was talking to the Oracle, you know? And I'm like, there are so many people out there that just believe that they are the one, that if something extravagant is going to happen, it will absolutely go through them and
Yeah.
they'll be the first ones to know. And I'm like, I don't know if I'd be so sure about that, you know?
Yeah, that example, you know, with Neo, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You don't have to be ready, ready by anyone else's standard. Okay, you could just be willing, because what's going to happen and what will be presented to you, just like Neo, it's presented to you. You could take it or you can leave it. But I feel that there are a lot of, for lack of better words, sleepers out there that are going to be awakened pretty soon.
Well, that's good. You know, we need more.
It is very good. It's very good because it's again, it's their time. This is what they signed up for. And there, it's just coming through that when you have other people who aren't in the limelight, you have other people that are coming through who are part of the um, general population, and they're coming through with whatever was given to them, that will reach more people than someone who is out there.
Interesting. You know, man, I just think about this kind of stuff all the time, and I'm so curious because even in the biblical times, they all thought that like they wouldn't taste death, and that the end was absolutely near, and it was a bunch of like weird prophecies that were meant to happen within the next 10 years, kind of thing. But I do get the sense that things are amping up, and maybe that is brought on a little bit on purpose. You know, there's this thing called the eschaton, and I've been researching it for quite a while now. And the eschaton is something where the powers that be are they are doing everything in their power to try and bring about the end times prophetically. So they say, well, the end times aren't going to come until the third temple is built. And the third temple can't be built because the I can't remember what the Islamic temple is already there, and they need to take that down in order to build the third Jewish temple or whatever. And so some people will say, well, that's why we're in this war right now, and maybe they're going to take that out and put the third temple in. They already sacrificed one of the red heifers, and I don't know. It's almost like they're trying to script the ending, and they call it the eschaton. And
Okay.
and now I personally, I don't believe in Christian end times, but as far as, you know, a lot of parts of the world do, and looking at it subjectively, I'm like, man, there is a lot of things that are stacking up, but it seems like it's forced, you know, and that's where I think that's why, you know, most people that get into conspiracies or are addicted to watching the news or anything like that, that's where a lot of that fear is coming from. And that's where a lot of people, I mean, I've seen a lot of people convert, you know, from a religion to not being religious, and vice versa, going the other way. I think some people are absolutely doing it just to get clicks on the internet and stuff like that. Like Russell Brand. I used to love Russell Brand. I don't trust that motherfucker anymore. I really don't. because all of a sudden he's just like, I don't know, poster child for Christianity, and he's wearing his, you know what I mean? It just seems sticky after everything that he's done in his past. And it's almost like he's trying to build his channel off of Christian followers and stuff like that. Now, if you're a Christian and you're looking at that, you're like, oh, thank God. Wow, even he got saved, right? And I think that it's all just blinders being put over everybody's eyes. I don't know where I'm going with that, but that was just what was on my mind there for a second.
Well, I could see your point. And when you're talking about bringing this about, like biblically, that's those who are fundamental and believe every single word in the Bible, that it's going to happen like this, and this. That's a fear factor. Okay, so I look at it like, okay, it's going to happen, but will it be like it's literally written? Because you know as well as I do, the Bible was written by men.
Every single time. Yep.
Yes. And whatever their interpretation or whatever their control factor was at the time, because, you know, it's all about controlling the masses and putting, quote unquote, the fear of God into people, and knowing that this and this and this are going to happen. Well, okay, they're talking about the four horses.
Mm-hmm.
The four horses of the apocalypse. Mm-hmm. Is that in the Bible?
Yeah. Okay,
so they're talking about that. And at the time, you're looking at this and saying, okay, where did this information come from? But did anyone think that those horses could actually be ships?
Yeah. You know, because people of every generation are always going to point to the highest level of technology that they can use to be able to compare the two. Like, and nowadays you got people talking about the simulation and the Matrix and, you know, aliens and stuff like that. Whereas maybe back then they would say, instead of, you know, simulation or Matrix, they would say God. Instead of aliens, maybe they'll say angels or spirits or something along those lines. And I think that we're just changing up the verbiage, but I think that it's most likely we've all been talking about the same thing and just arguing over definitions.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that makes the most amount of sense to me.
I mean, I'm fascinated by these paintings and even wall drawings on caves and stuff. You see the ships. You see the beings that are like, you know, 8 or 9 feet tall. You see that in these paintings and the drawings on the caves and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's been around forever.
What do you think is going on with that, first of all? Like, I go back and forth with this kind of stuff all day long, because if you look back, even not that far back long ago, in the 40s with Roswell, you had the flying saucers that were crashed over there, right? And they tried to cover it all up, but people are still going out to that area in the desert and finding what they call metamaterial. And in this metamaterial, it acts like no other metal out there, to where it looks like a solid object, but whenever you pick it up and hold it in your hand, it almost melts. And then you put it on the table and it becomes solid again. And it's the strangest thing. And it makes me wonder, like, how is it that everybody used to always talk about seeing flying discs or, you know, solid seemingly objects, and nowadays most people are seeing what seems to be called plasma, or, you know, like non-corporeal objects? You know, what do you think is really going on with that? Like, do you think that the aliens or the angels are evolving, or are they only showing us what we're ready to see, kind of deal?
I feel it's the latter, that they're showing us what we're ready to see, and also what our minds feel safe to see. Because what's happening is they are with us. They know where we are on our evolution. They know how to present themselves to us because of where we are. So in the ancient time, they could have presented themselves, as I'm a god, I'm your king, I'm whoever, and now you have to bow down and worship me. When you fast forward to now, you're looking at people are a little more sophisticated. They question, they don't like to be controlled. So what they're doing is they're showing people what they're ready for now in this evolution. And I feel it's going to get more pronounced, but I don't feel it's going to happen overnight. So this is the whole thing about disclosure, or whatever you want to call it. What's to disclose? We already know they've been around for 1,000 million years. So what's really to disclose? The
Yeah.
only thing to disclose now is to know that they're here. They've always been here. And now they're going to be, that's really funny. They're going to be incorporating themselves into our society. Again, this is coming from them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Let's
that
go.
was interesting. Okay. When they incorporate themselves, it's going to be gradually, but it's going to be known.
What do you
So I
think?
don't, what I'm feeling is they're not going to come in like humans, like they are human looking like they are now, because they're here anyway. They're going to be incorporating themselves into society gradually.
Wow. God, I hope that's true. That would be so sick. I need me a Lyran, not gonna lie. I need me a Lyran. I want to shackle up with one for the rest of my life. That's what I need. Um, yeah, it's so crazy too. Like, just to speak on that for a second, it was like, I don't know, the other day, 3 or 4 days ago, and I was in meditation, and I wasn't listening to any specific meditation. It was like a love frequency meditation or something like that. It's like a healing meditation frequency. And I always like those because it's real easy to fall into a deep meditative state on those kind of frequencies. Because, there are other frequencies that it's almost like shocking to your system, and it's like you almost got
Right.
to fight it to try and get into it. But in that meditation, let me know if you've ever felt anything like this. And I thought that I was tripping. But in that meditation, I swear, like, I was very deep in meditation. I get there pretty quick. So I was meditating for like 15 minutes, hyper aware of my surroundings and of myself. Right. And in that moment, I legit felt something like a little tongue lick my lips. And it was the strangest sensation. Now, I know that the lips are probably one of the most sensitive spots on our entire bodies, right? Like, to the touch. I mean, you would be able to feel, like, if you're going to go outside and feel any kind of wind, I feel like you're going to feel it on your lips, maybe on your hair, kind of thing. But it was the strangest thing. You ever had anything like kooky like that happen?
What I usually get is just touches on my arm and stroking my hair. That's what
Really?
I get.
Stroking your hair. Like, it literally
Hmm.
feels like it physically.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And there's a difference between a ghost doing that and a being doing that. So ghost, here's the deal. The difference is you feel coldness. You really do. So the coldness is because they're actually trying to get your energy. So when they're touching you, it doesn't mean it's malevolent. Okay, so they're touching you, it's cold, but they're getting your energy. Most of the time that's helping them to kind of sort of materialize, but they really don't. When a being is coming to you, there is no coldness. You just feel. And that's the difference between a ghost and a being.
I'm ready for it. Like I
Be
honestly,
careful what you ask for.
There's sometimes I'm sitting out in the living room at night, just on my recliner, and maybe watching a TV show. It's late at night. I'm a night owl, and I got all the lights off, and the only light is just the glow from the TV. And I'm always like, I wouldn't be scared if a little alien just walked in this room right now. And I'm like, almost like teasing it a little bit, and I don't know. I'm sure I probably would trip. I'm not gonna lie. I probably would trip a little bit, but at the same time, I've heard so many stories about all the different alien visitations and whatnot, and usually you can sense their vibe, whether they're going to be malevolent or benevolent, and that's just having that level of awareness within yourself. And you feel that all the time when you're around other people too. Like, if you're an empath of sorts, then you kind of feel that energy already with other people without them even having to talk. And so I feel like, maybe I would probably be able to sense if something like that were to happen. And like, so much so that, it was a few weeks ago, I'm laying in bed getting ready to fall asleep, and I got the sense that I was either being watched or something was in the room. And I'm trying to heighten my senses so that I can sense these kinds of things, because I know that they exist, right? Like, the unseen things are absolutely there. Dimensions are stacked up on top of each other. Even if it's a holographic bleed through into our dimension, I feel like that energy can still be sensed, right?
Right.
And so I'm laying there, and I feel like there's some kind of sense or some kind of something going on in the room. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm just like overcome with fear out of nowhere for no reason, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're an asshole. It was kind of like I just came to that conclusion that, like, well, you're probably not somebody I want to be conversating with. And at that moment, I said, I'm not going to be fearful of you, because I know what you're doing. I know that you're trying to make me scared in order to put me into a state of mind so that you can manipulate me through that fear. No thanks, buddy. And I just went to sleep.
Right. You're sensing energy, and when you sense that, it's very important for you to recognize it and to go with what you're getting right then and there. So when you knew something was in there, but then instantly your own intuition, your whole body reacted to the energy. Okay, so it was your whole body that reacted to that. That's where our intuition and our knowing and our feeling really comes in. But when you say I'm ready for that, I just want to throw this out too. Be careful what you ask for. It's not because it's going to be dangerous, but if a suggestion for you, ask them to show themselves during the daytime.
Oh. I wonder how they would show themselves during the daytime, though. Do you think that like literally, physically, corporeally in the same room with me. I'd be able to reach out and touch, kind of thing. Or
I'm not so sure it could be touching, but I do know that it could be you see them. And I don't feel that it would be, a hologram or anything like that, but you can see them. When it comes to them incorporating themselves into society, that's when you can feel them and touch them.
okay.
Okay, they're solid. But right now, it's the same thing with ghosts. If you want to see a ghost, you want to talk to a ghost, ask them to do it during the daytime. Number one, it's not as fearful. Okay, and you are in control of your own environment. So you're letting them know you need to come during the day. Because that way I won't be afraid to go to bed anymore. But you need to come during the day because this is what will make me feel more comfortable. And yes, they'll listen to that and they will do that. I mean, I was in Laughlin one time, and I'm walking the river walk, and I kept thinking, I know that there's someone here. And I knew that someone was like, I guess you would call them like men in black, but they were beings in black. So I remember turning around and watching these two men walk up to me. They were in black suits with dark sunglasses, a dark hat, just the way that men in black are portrayed. But when they were coming towards me, I knew that they were not human. And it's because I called them in. And I said, I want to see you. And when I turned around, they came straight toward me and then went this way. They didn't talk to me because I said I just wanted to see them. So they take things literally, just like the universe. I want to see you and I want to talk to you. Okay,
Wow.
so you can take that control. There's nothing wrong with that because in the end, what they want is for people to not acknowledge them because they don't need an acknowledgement, but they're coming to help Earth and its inhabitants, the ones that are ready for it. And if everyone's afraid, how are they going to help?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that probably, checks out with a lot of the experiences that people are having, regularly. I mean, there's been videos of people seeing them in their backyard. It is a rare time, a rare person that I ask if they've ever seen an orb out in the night sky and they say no nowadays. Where that used to be crazy not that long ago. I mean, a year and a half
Right.
ago, it used to be a rarity. And now everybody, just about every night, if you got a clear night sky and you don't have, the moon, like a full moon, like, because full moons are going to dim the sky a little bit with the, the reflection of it. You can go out there and see them, and you can see them by the load. I mean, there are so many people that are doing like these time-lapse videos now, where they'll point their camera up in the sky and they'll take like a 20-minute video, just 20 minutes. And it literally, and they'll speed it up and just to be able to show some of the action. Over the span of 20 minutes on fast forward, it looks like literally every one of the stars is moving outside. Like there's a lot going on. But the strange thing to me is that, do you think that those orbs are just kind of parading in the sky, or do you think that they're going to a specific place? What do you think is going on with that?
They're fleets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It does kind of seem like that because you'll
They just
see.
don't parade around and go, oh, look at me. They don't do that. They're fleets of ships. Now, there's a difference when you say orbs or you're saying ships and you see them in the sky. Okay, an orb to me is something that you see in a photo. And I feel orbs are just another transportation mode for them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look very closely at a really clear picture of an orb, you can see inside of it.
Yeah.
And you can see a face. I have so many pictures of that.
Yes.
So orbs are transportation vehicles, but ships are, especially a whole array of them. That's a fleet. So they're going back and forth. And in fact, they're telling me they're patrolling.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Yeah, they're patrolling because um, they're not here to save the world, but they are here to keep it safe from malevolent beings who want to not save the world. So there's a fight in the cosmos all the time. They're fighting because I actually did some cards and I made a deck of cards, my ET cards, and one of the pictures is of the fighting. So there's all the fighting there between the different entities. And there's always a fight in the universe. And when you look at it, you say they're patrolling for us, then that's just that safety factor, safety net, safety feeling that we get that there are other beings on our side
That are looking out for us.
that are looking out for us.
Wow. Yeah, I believe that. I fully do. I know that this. I'm not gonna lie. 3 or 4 years ago, if I'd have heard this, I'd be like, it's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
That's a cool story, bro.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, man, I'm fully in because once you surround yourself with people's experiences and hear all the stories, and so many of them align and match up, and so many of
Right.
them talk about frequency and love and vibration and wanting to see people evolve, and there's guides and spirits that are all around that are very interested in our, for lack of a better term, ascension of sorts.
Yeah.
And I just believe it, and I've heard plenty of times that there are, factions out there that don't have our best interests and factions that do have our best interests. What are your
Right.
thoughts, just out of curiosity, because I don't know, but what are your thoughts on the Galactic Federation? Like, is that a thing that does it absolutely exist?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. All
Very
right.
much so. And there are common people, for lack of a better word, that have been taken to be in meetings in the Galactic Federation. So these are the people that, what I was saying, are supposed to be activated. So they have a dream, that they were taken and they're in this meeting with the Galactic Federation. You could sit in.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you have to participate, but you can sit in. But what they're doing is they're activating these people for later. because you still get something out of it. So you hear what you're supposed to hear, you come back into your body, you forget it, but it's still there. So um I don't want to say programmed in, but it's in your memory. And when the time is right, then that comes out. So all of this works together. And yes, the Federation is what moderates the fleets, the helping the dark side to keep away. It's all of this. The Federation has a lot of things that it does. They're like our ambassadors, and they make sure that everything is running smooth or smoother, but without involving us. Okay, so picture this. We're out at night, and all we see are like Star Wars beams, through the sky.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're seeing. Well, I wonder what that is. Well, they're fighting up there, fool. What do you think? Okay. So we don't see that because we have beings that are there for our best and highest good. And those beings are the ones that say we can all work together. We're all one. And what is happening is the end of the world, the new earth, however you want to, put the doomsday thing, is not going to happen until everyone can make a choice.
Okay. And the choice to either
Believe, go know who they are, cross over to the new earth, however you want to put it. But until every single person on the earth, even unknown tribes in Africa, they'll have, someone that can give them what they need. Every person on earth will know and will have a choice. That's just all there is to it.
yes.
So we all have to have, you can't say, well, I didn't know. You did know, and either you believed it or you didn't believe it. It's up to you.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people have experiences that kind of scare them because they don't know how to compartmentalize it. And so maybe it just goes to the back of the room, in the subconscious. And I don't know what to do with that. I'm just going to, in my mind, I'm just going to accept that either it didn't happen or I was tripping or what have you. And it's a scary thing because it does kind of wreck the entire paradigm of what you thought was reality. Whenever there is anything that, like if you got visited by an alien, that doesn't fit in with anything at all that you've ever experienced in your life ever. Right? Like you can't say, oh yeah, there was this one time that I met an alien and it didn't shock me. It didn't make me question my beliefs. You know what I mean? Like it's going to rock you a little bit. But I did want to bring up, it's, when was this? Back in 2020. And this was something, whenever I first started podcasting, I remember learning about this and it's always stuck with me. But the former head of Israel's defense, of Israel's Defense Ministry Space Directorate, his name was Chaim Eshed. He said that, let's see exactly what he claimed that Donald Trump was aware of the Galactic Federation and was asked to not reveal information to avoid mass hysteria. Now, this is not just some Joe Blow off the street. This guy ended up retiring and then came out and said this in a 2020 interview. And he mentioned that Galactic Federation of aliens absolutely exists and is in contact with the United States and Israel. I'm like, okay, then you go and you hear a bunch of other stories about the Galactic Federation, and I'm led to believe that that has to be a real thing, and not only just because of that story, but everybody else's stories about, going and sitting up at the Galactic Council and seeing all the different like alien breeds up there, conversating about stuff. And it's almost like the House of Congress. It's like they're all circled
Yeah.
around, and and I feel like we've seen it in movies before. I think there was one in Star Wars where they're like all at this bar and there's like a bunch of different aliens all sitting there
Oh
and
yeah.
drinking and
Yeah.
everything, right? Man, I would love to be a fly on the wall in that conversation. Do you think that you can purposefully go there if you get deep enough in meditation? Is that something that you think could happen?
Oh yeah.
Like, would that be
Yeah.
considered like remote viewing or astral projecting or something at that point?
Yeah, both. So if you're going for remote viewing, yes, you can view whatever you want. I viewed the ship that my family was on, and I was there with them. So I'm viewing it and then I'm there. And astral projecting, you go there in spirit. Remote viewing, you go there in mind. But it doesn't matter how you get there, you just get there. And it's actually, it's not as hard as you think, because I always say you don't have to sit for hours in a lotus position. You can do dishes and meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you focus on that quiets your mind, that's meditation.
Go for a walk,
I
go
get
for a
some of
drive.
I get some of my best ideas washing dishes. Someone says, you need a dishwasher. No, I don't. If I had a dishwasher, I wouldn't get my best ideas.
Yeah,
So,
honestly, I'm the same, but with taking a shower and with driving. That's like my ultimate trance
oh
state.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, you can get there easily. Well, I'm saying easily because I believe, because of my near-death experience, because I opened up and I went there. And it's easy for that channel never closed. So that's why telepathic communication is easy for me. And that's why I could still go there with my mind. So
It's like
remote viewing.
you do it once and now you know that you can do it, and that part of you that's questioning it doesn't get in the way anymore.
Well, not that I know I can do it, but that I know that there's a pathway open. And
Okay.
it's not like, well, I could do this now. It's not like that. It's that pathway is still open. So it has never closed. So I can go there anytime, which I do quite a lot at night, especially. And, I'll be lying there and I'll close my eyes and it's like, okay, where am I going now? So I can remote view where I want to be. And it doesn't matter where it is. I mean, there's a reason that I do it sometimes. I just don't do it for the heck of it. I will do it a lot for other people because they'll want to know what's going on. So I can do it a lot for them. For me, I'm visiting other worlds, other planets. I'm visiting ships. And that just gives me this connection, a closer connection. Um, because there's part of me that thinks, I need to be on the bandwagon more about the beings, but that's that ego part of me, that the part that says you have to do, and I don't. I am close with them. Anytime they want to get in touch with me, I'm here. Anytime they, want me to activate someone, I'll do it. But I'm also here not as like an ambassador, but as conduit to them.
Oh, yeah. God, that is so cool. Yeah, and you said something a little bit earlier. I think we need to go back on. You
Okay.
said when you went there, you saw your family. Can you dive into that a little bit more? Because I don't know if I've ever heard that part.
Oh, okay. Well, we have like families here on this plane. We have families every place else. So when I went there, they introduced themselves because obviously I haven't seen them for a while. And they all lined up in a row. And they said, "This is your mother, this is your father, you have your brother, your sister, and all these people." And they were encouraging me because they're like, "We're very proud of you, what you're doing, because we know that it was very hard for you to come here, Earth, and to do this. So we're very proud of you. We have that galactic family." And that's what some people, when they are going um, to, be with their beings, or they're thinking about it, it's their family connection that they feel. Even though it's not an earthly family thing, it is a family connection, because we do have that. We came from there and we're here. This is like our foster families. Okay. Because we came into this lifetime, we chose the families we were going to be with to learn the lessons and to experience. Okay.
Okay.
So when we did that, we left voluntarily our family to come here to do this. And it was a very brave and hard thing for us to do. And it's very hard for them to watch, but they're still there helping us.
Why would we make such a decision?
Because it's all about, number one, experience, because there's not a whole lot of experiencing there. We're talking emotions. And then also just experience life. What is life that they call it here? And it's also to get people ready for what they're supposed to do, because we run into different people, and those people we're supposed to run into, and those people we're supposed to activate in one way or the other. And then this goes and this goes and this goes. It's just like a wave. But when we do it, we don't come down here just because we're saying, "Oh, I want to go to Disneyland." We don't do that. We go, "I'm going to go there. I'm going to experience. I'm going to um, get with these people that I know I can help, because I'm supposed to. This is the way it's supposed to work. I can wake them up. I can activate them. I can go on with this life, and then I can leave."
Wow. That really checks out. That really does check out. Even like past life past life regressions that I've had done to me, that does kind of check out. Whenever you say that you saw your family, do you like remember what they look like?
Oh, yeah.
Did they look
Yeah.
like humanoid or an alien or something like that?
Well, they definitely weren't humanoid, but they weren't like scary alien either. They were, you could tell, the female, the mother, you could tell the male, the father. They did not have hair, so they didn't have hair, but they were dressed in, I guess, what you would call clothes. It wasn't like a tight fitting suit or anything. It was like clothes. And they were so loving, so kind, so supportive. And again, so proud. And that's what they kept saying. "We're so proud of you." And I'm like, what did I do? But I don't, if you think about it and you remember, like, I came here for a reason. We all came here for a reason. Again, not everyone came down here from a ship, but we have that part of us that can be introduced to it and can go back. That's why I said nothing drastic is going to happen until everyone has had a chance to make up their mind.
Oh man. Yeah, it just seems so personal. And an experience like that. It's
It
amazing.
is. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I've tried in certain meditations, especially like guided meditations. There are like uber amounts of guided meditations out there to meet your soul family or your ET family or to meet your soul guides and stuff like that. And every single time I've done one of them, I've had an experience. And the thing is that stupid fucking left brain is always getting in the way of like, you're just making that up, and
Right.
you want that to be true, and you know what I mean? It's that we'll call it logical part of our mind,
Right.
even though in this instance it's rather illogical.
That's your ego voice, because it doesn't like change. So that's why it's trying to discourage you from even believing anything, because it does not like change.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did it feel like that was happening? How would you say that whenever you were able to experience them, would you say that that was another world, another reality, another dimension, another dream? Like, what would be your best way of putting that into words?
I would say another dimension.
Hmm.
Yeah, if I was to say, pick from one of those, it would be a dimension. Um, I don't know why, that just feels right.
That is so cool. Yeah, it does make sense that it would be from another dimension, that they would be so proud because, especially you coming into the third dimension, which many people have said that it's like the heaviest dimension,
Oh, very heavy. Yes.
like to quote Marty McFly, that's heavy, from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And Doc's like, what is going on in the future? Is there a certain amount of density that has gone up? Or, like taking it literal.
Right.
But yeah, it does seem like all the stories you hear, people that have had near death experiences or past life regressions or psychedelic experiences, what have you, they all say the same thing, that this is, I've heard plenty of times that this is the hardest place to
It is.
to incarnate in.
It is because it's dense. When you go to that other dimension, there is a major difference in the environment. I mean, granted, I've only been on ships, I've not been on planets yet. But there's a major difference in the environment. But I do know that when I draw for people, their star families, and also some people want to know, like, what did their planet look like, or what's from where they're from. I can go to that planet and I can draw it, or describe it to them however they want. And I'll tell you one thing, they're all colorful, very colorful. I've never been to a dark planet,
Hmm.
but they are colorful. And whatever surface it is, if it's like a little city, or if it's underground, it doesn't matter. It's very colorful. And that's why I like going there. But it's light. It's very light. So there's not that density. And I feel, A lot of it has to do with the human thought. I feel human thoughts bring everything down because we are thinking like 100 million times a day. You know, whatever our thoughts are, it's not 100 million, but it's a lot.
60,000 actually. That's the number on average. 60,000 thoughts in a day the average human has.
Well, that's quite a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
100 million, okay? But what we're doing is we're thinking so much and all these thoughts are going out. Okay, we don't keep it in our head. We think it and it goes out. That's like I say, be careful what you think because it goes out and it comes back to you. But with all these people thinking these thoughts, it keeps everything down because the thoughts are not all about love and light. They're about, you know, anything and everything that is negative. That's why people say, let's have like a group healing or meditation so we can raise the vibration. But there's more negative thoughts than there are positive thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But we have that density. It's almost like a fog of thoughts.
Yeah, that makes sense. It would because a lot of people, they think that their thoughts are their own and that they're private and they have no, you know, they're not going to mess with the outside world at all, that they're only being encompassed within this vehicle. And I'm like, the more I dive into all of these different spiritual aspects, the more I try my absolute best to always stay aware of what is going through my mind and what I'm resonating with.
Right.
Because I've learned that everything in my reality is a reflection. You know, it's a reflection and a projection. It's like a mystical plasma mirror of sorts.
Yeah.
And it's strange to think that. It's even stranger to believe it. It is the strangest to know it and interact with it at that point. You know,
right.
there's levels of being able to weave this information and weave your beliefs and your thoughts and your knowings into what's real and what's actually not, you know? And I think that a lot of people probably protect themselves a little bit, almost like a baby blanket of sorts, to believe but not fully interweave, if that makes sense, you know, because then they have to be held accountable for their thoughts. They have to be held accountable for their words. They have to be held accountable for all their experiences. And you can't just shove them, you know, in the back of the sock drawer anymore. Like, you know, if you resonated with that thought and you compounded it with other thoughts that, you know, maybe evolved from that one singular thought, then maybe it's going to manifest in one way or another. And maybe it doesn't manifest outwardly, literally, physically, but I think that you know your thoughts can evolve so much that they begin to become actions, and you don't even know how you got here to make this kind of decision. I can imagine that what's his name that was eating people? Not Hannibal.
That was eating people?
Yeah.
Oh, Dahmer?
Dahmer. Yeah, I can imagine that his first thought probably wasn't like, oh, let me look at a human calf. That looks tasty. You know, it probably started out as something maybe innocent. I wonder what that would, you know, whenever you're a little kid, you go around licking everything. You know, maybe it started there and it just evolved. I don't know. But, you know, it all starts and then it just compiles and compiles and compiles. And that's why it's very important, at least, you know, to me on a personal level, to constantly try to be aware of the thoughts that are going through my mind. Right. If it's something negative that I don't want happening in life, I do this thing to where I just say out loud, no. And then it just dissipates and it goes away because I don't resonate with it anymore.
You can also say cancel.
Oh, okay. Cancel that. Cancel all that. Kick
delete,
them nasty thoughts.
Whatever you want to say. But cancel, delete, it doesn't matter. Because our thoughts are extremely powerful. That is like the biggest thing that anyone can learn is our thoughts are powerful, and we don't just keep them within ourselves. They, when you think about it, and it's like, oh, I was just thinking about that, and then you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool. That's because your thoughts are very powerful. And looking at it like beings, oh, I really want to talk to one. Okay, they hear that, but just make your own parameters during the day. And I just don't want to see you. I want to communicate with you.
It's so strange too, because I've been noticing that certain things happen in cycles and in waves, like synchronicities, for example. It's like every day I'm seeing a new synchronicity that, it's not one thing. It's like 10 of the same exact thing is happening in one day. And it's this, like, it could be something as simple as numbers, for example.
Right.
Like, I have a couple of numbers that I usually see on a regular basis, but every so often I'll get like a 222, and then I'll see it like 10 times that day. Or the other day it was 144. I saw 144 literally everywhere. And I was like, is this just to make sure that I'm paying attention kind of deal, that every time I get the idea to look at the clock and automatically it's 144 or 444 or 222. And I almost just, to me, it's like awareness training. That's how I view that. Maybe that's why I'm seeing them so synchronistically, to constantly remind me to be as aware of everything as possible, because those little things, they're like little dopamine hits. You see that synchronicity, you're like, ooh, that feels good. I like it. And I hope that I catch the next one kind of deal. I don't know.
Also, those are signs, and they're also messages.
That's my next step. I need to start looking a little bit more into that and trying to decode this.
It's very easy. Just look up what's the spiritual meaning of the number 222. Whatever you're seeing, it's messages that you're receiving from your angels, from, your guides, from whoever. You could look at them as synchronicities, but I feel more messages. So instead of, oh, I wonder why I'm seeing all that, it's not just to keep me on my toes, it's to give me a message that I need. And it could be something very simple. It doesn't, need to be earth shattering, but most of it is encouragement, letting you know your angels around, you're on the right track, you're awakening, you're, whatever. But start keeping track of those numbers and look them up and see what it means.
Yeah, I mean, and I just looked it up because 222 has been the number I've seen, I kid you not, somewhere between 8 and 10 times today. And it says seeing 222 is widely interpreted as an angel number, indicating that you are in the right place at the right time, symbolizing harmony, balance, trust, and alignment with the universe, which is really strange because over the past month and a half or so, I've been feeling really out of alignment. And today there's just been this like wave of that everything's going to work out, like just a weird knowing of like faith, in a sense that it's going to work itself out kind of deal.
Yeah. So take that and look at it like, yes, that is, I'll take it. Thank you very much. And I'll keep looking for it. So whatever kind of signs, so if you don't hear, because, if you ask, like with me, I'll ask a question and I'll hear an answer. So that's how I communicate. But if I'm not paying attention, I'll get numbers also. And the funny thing about it is I'll get them, it's so funny, at the grocery store. When I am at the checkout, I'll get something like 5544, that's how much it is. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I got to look that one up. So, I mean, really, I'll look these things up and it will be a message to me on, whatever it's about. But yeah, I always look for that. I just don't go, well, that's weird. I go, oh yeah, that's a sign.
I need to start trusting that. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that more often because that 222 definitely resonates. Like weirdly specifically exactly what I've been feeling today. And really, really strange.
Yeah, so they're just letting you know. You're on the right track. It's good. It's all good.
It's all good in the hood. I do want to get over to the chat a little bit. We've been kind of sleeping on that. Taylor at the top said, yay, hi, Cassandra, happy to see you. Love you, Taylor. Dougie said, to quote the Smashing Pumpkins, or the Smashing Blumpkins, because he's known as the Blumpkin, the world is a vampire. I love that song. Taylor said it's a 1 year in numerology, so things being at a start makes sense. Yeah, 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10, reduces down to 1. Yeah, and I from what I've been researching as far as 10 or 1 years, it usually means it's a good thing, but it can be abruptly shaking foundational like pillars of sorts from what I've seen. In that, it's a brand new start because it's an end and a start. So things have to end in order to usher in the new kind of deal. And so it's a 1 and the 10. So it's kind of encompassing both of them.
But it's a smooth transition.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they are inherently the same thing,
Right.
Dougie said, Jonathan for president, you got my vote. Oh boy, I would never want to be in politics. Dougie said, just be careful if you feel a stroke when you're doing a coffee enema. We'll have to get you an alien rape whistle. Jesus Christ. I do these coffee enemas from time to time because not to get too detailed, but I need to. And it's also really good for, a cleanse, and it's really good for getting rid of parasites and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people swear by it, and I'm one of them. So that's what that's about. Doug said, I have a legit question for Cassandra. What is her take on the afterlife? Is there a heaven or hell? And are there any spirits or energies that are like poltergeists or demons that don't want to show themselves or help us? Or we'll do that in segments. So first off, what is your take on the afterlife? Is there a heaven or hell?
No. There just is.
Lovely. All right. But there is afterlife.
Oh, yes. Yes. Taken from voice of experience from someone who died, there is an afterlife.
And are there any spirits or energies that are like poltergeists or demons that don't want to show themselves or help us?
Oh, definitely.
Negative energies, negative spirits, and whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I used to not want to believe in that. I used to just, anytime I would get any kind of inkling that something negative was around, I'd be like, nope, it's just my mind, Let me, you know what I mean? Like, but the good thing is, in my opinion, is this is the way I look at negative entities, negative energies, quote unquote demons, however you want to call them. I look at them as they're after something that I have. I'm not after something that they have. So in my mind, I'm more powerful than you little demon bitch. Okay. That's the way I look at it. I'm like, I got something you want. You don't have anything that I want. So I got nothing to do for you. That's it.
Right.
I'm in the process of give and take. I'm not in the process of take and take. All right. Get out of here with that.
Yeah. But be careful too. And I'm not saying that this is what you do. Don't taunt, because they're real. So if you feel that around you, just tell them, be gone.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
Don't get into any kind of pissing contest.
It might be a defense mechanism. I'm not going to lie to you, because whenever
Of course.
I'm one of those people, if I get scared, I get mad because I'm ready. You know, it's kind of
Right,
one of those things.
Right. Yeah. But it just, again, it's not a pissing contest. Just use your power to say, leave and never come back.
Be gone, evil spirit. Don't need you.
Yeah. Not today, Satan.
Not today. Not today. Nora, Nora. What's up, Nora? It's been a little while. Nora said, alignment is like a wizard. A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he's meant to. That's beautiful. I like it. Yeah, I do like that. Yeah, it does seem that everything happens in perfect timing.
It does. Yeah, that's the only way it can happen.
She said, by the way, Jonathan, you don't have to read. Oh, I don't have to read this. I'm just asking. Okay, I'll answer it anyway. That's all right. I'm just asking the one, but where's Sean? I am severely behind on episodes and live streams. Always miss you guys on Wonder Wednesdays. Sean actually decided to step away from the podcast and to step away from podcasting in general. He wants to be able to pursue a career in tattooing, and he didn't really have a whole lot of time because he works all throughout the day, and then we were shooting 3 or 4 nights a week, and so he never really had any time to focus on being creative and drawing and coming up with ideas and tattooing people and stuff like that. And he wants to eventually get into an apprenticeship at a tattoo place. And that's he's always been so artistic. Like, he's the most artistic person I've ever personally met, and just so creative. The way his mind works, if you just sit there and like watch him paint or watch him draw, or he'll even get on, like, I remember whenever I was a little kid, he's always been this way. And he's only, I think he's 3 years older than me, or 4, something like that. He was always my older cousin. And, whenever we were little, we would get on like the old computers, and you would just get on there was this icon or this app that was just called Paint, right? And you would get on Paint, and you have all the different paint brushes and pencils and all this other kind of stuff. He would make the most insane things I've ever seen on Paint. I'd be like, dude, I can't do that on a piece of paper. I can't do that on a computer. My people look like stick figures, and he's over here like fucking doing murals on a paint program on a Windows 95. You know, it's like the craziest thing. So he's always been extremely creative, and he wants to go after that. And hey, I support him fully. Like, it wasn't like a bad thing. Like, he loved doing the show, but he always knew that it wasn't his thing, if that makes sense. Like, and so I said, hey, dude, you got to follow your thing, whatever that is. I think that now is the time. If you're ever going to chase after a dream, there's never been a better time right now, I think. So, yeah, he's been getting on that. He hasn't looked back at all. I mean, he's been, I talk to him, every few days, and I'm like, hey, so you missed the show at all? He goes, I miss talking to people, and, I miss talking to you regular, because we would talk every day because of the podcast and everything. But he's like, but I'm comfortable in my decision. And I'm like, that's all I need. That's all I want. I just want you to be happy with your decision. No hard feelings whatsoever, right? Because I similarly had to do the same thing with my other podcast, The Cult of Conspiracy. I had to go up to Jacob and be like, look, man, this just isn't for me anymore. Like, I don't want to talk about conspiracies. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about QAnon. I don't want to talk about flat Earth. I'm over, black pilling everything. And my next step was to, dive fully into this show. And I haven't looked back one bit. Like, I'm extremely happy with my decision. And it's just, you worry about what the other person's going to think. So obviously he was like, he called me and he's like, hey, there's something really, serious I got to talk to you about. And I'm like, all right, say less. I'm gonna call you. And we got on the phone and he explained everything. I was like, dude, I mean, I would hope that you know me well enough by now that I'm not going to judge you or be mad at you for anything like that. And he goes, I know. That's my left brain, or you know what I mean? That's my ego thinking. And I was like, dude, it's all good. But he said that he will come back for a live show at some point in time, and so he's not gone forever. He's just gone for now. That's all. That's a long answer, but that's basically what happened. She said, gotcha, right on. He's following his greatest passion, and I hope the best for him doing what he loves. We'll miss him, though. He does still listen to every episode, though. So he's still here, in spirit. So, but yeah, that's what happened. And to be honest, I'm not mad at all. At first it was a challenge because I had never regularly done interviews or shows by myself. So at first it was kind of a shock to the system and a big challenge and everything. But I like it. I like the challenge. I like, I like those kind of challenges that force me to grow more than I already have, So that's where I'm at. So, but now we have Cassandra, and it's been, I think you've been doing it for about a month and a half that you've been dropping an episode every week. And those have been so great. It was just the other day, I was driving home from Louisiana and I binged every single show that you have, which is great because most of your shows are quick hitters. They're 25, 35 minutes somewhere in there and you can just binge them all in a day. And that's exactly what I did. And it put me at ease. Like, I've been coming into this zone in my life where I'm coming out of destruction and all these horrible things have been happening. And then, I listened to all of your shows and I'm like, of course, I know this already. and like, you're just the reminder, and I love that. So I love all the little, all the shorter kind of shows that you've been doing. It definitely made an impact on me. And to be honest, the more Cassandra I can get, the better my life is.
Well, I just dropped 4 shows today.
Yes.
So, and it's a series. So it's 5 series. And it started out with, I'm thinking, what am I going to talk about? And I started to hear a song. And I never thought about this song ever. And it's called A Bridge Over Troubled Water. Simon and Garfunkel, I think.
Throwback.
I never liked them anyway, but, and I kept hearing A Bridge Over Troubled Water. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's my theme. And I just went for it, and it's really good.
Awesome.
It's really good. So it's just how to trust your own intuition, how not to get into, the headspace, and, forgive yourself for, if you do get into your headspace and you can't seem to get out of it, you will eventually. You just trust your gut, trust your intuition. So I did 4 of those today, and my voice is about ready to say, I've been talking way too much.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I love doing that.
Well, I love them. They are very, very helpful for anybody. And it's not just like straight psychic stuff like maybe some people might assume. It's like more in depth. It's like it's the shadow work that everybody needs to do to be able to integrate some of those things, I think, is because you need to start there before you take the next steps towards reading minds and channeling aliens and all this stuff,
I am a teacher at heart. So that's my whole thing, is teaching. And that's why it's fun for me to do this.
Yeah, Nora said, I know which episodes I'm going to binge. Congrats on coming aboard to the Metamystics train, Cassandra. Always glad to see you on, and I can't wait to check them out. Yes, they are really good. Really good.
Thank you so much.
And by the way, Cassandra you dropped 4 episodes on Patreon today. Yeah. And so if you want to binge all of them in one day and not wait all the way throughout the month to be able to listen to them every Sunday on the podcast, then patreon.com/metamystics. That's the best place to be able to get all the shows days, if not weeks in advance, completely commercial free, and to be able to join the community. So just want to throw that out there. And you'll be able to join if you sign up for the Wonder Wednesday tier or higher. You'll be able to come and hang out. Usually every Wednesday night. That may be changing here soon. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about changing the day on that. But it's the best place to be able to join in on the conversation and ask whatever guest we have, whatever question you may have. And especially a psychic. Like, who wouldn't want to join in on a conversation with a psychic? In my mind, a psychic is the coolest kind of person that could ever exist. Because I'm like, I just want to be a sponge. I want to learn everything that I possibly can from you, because what you do it's supernatural in my mind. Even though I know it can be a learned thing, but to somebody who doesn't know how to do it, it is like, it is very mystical, you know? So, all right. Typically I know that you like to do maybe a reading or 7. But, do you feel like you got that in you tonight? I know you said your voice is going.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a collective reading.
Perfect.
Oh, that just came to me. I love that. Okay. So everyone who is here will get something that they need. So it's not just focused on one person. That's cool. Never thought about that. Okay. I love it when my people come through. Just do a collective reading. Okay, fine.
I'm here for it.
Watch me. Okay. What is it that everyone needs to know? Give me a little. What I get is the universe is letting all of you know in one way or the other that all the fighting within your mind, what you're doing is you're fighting against yourself. And they want you to let go of that. That means you're wasting time, you're wasting energy, you're not going where you're supposed to be. So whenever you find yourself having things going round and round and round, release them and say, hey, I'm done. I'm letting go. Because there are things coming into your life, and these things that are coming in will bring you peace. And that peace means within yourself. So you're going from fighting with yourself to being at peace with yourself. When you're at peace with yourself, what's going to happen is you're going to be bringing riches to you. These riches they can be literal, they can be figurative. What makes you feel rich? Is it to have a good love life, a good job, money, whatever? You look at what is it that makes you feel rich. Because when you do that, that's when change is going to occur. And this change is not a bad thing. This is a controlled whirlwind, but you'll see it because the first thing that you did was you stopped fighting with yourself and you let whatever is there go. And all of these things are bringing you to your next phase in life. And this is what you've been missing because of your mind. You've been missing having fun. So what's going to be coming to you is fun, lightheartedness, playfulness, seeing the world differently, through a different lens. It's not as foggy, it's clearer, it's brighter, it's like a star. And you see it and you want it and you reach for it. All you have to do is let go.
Wow. Great reading. Yeah. This is so crazy. But the tarot don't lie. And whenever I was pulling it, and right before you were about to speak, I was trying to draw the card that pulls on the energy that you were about to tap into. That was like my
Okay.
intention that I set, right?
Mm.
And I got this card and I was like, man, I don't know. That's not a really good card. Like, is that the card that I really want? You know, and sometimes because you question them from time to time, especially me, you know, nobody's perfect. We always question like our ability to do certain things, but I started reading it and then you started talking and I was like, holy shit, I think I did it. Like we're talking about the same thing here because I pulled the 7 of Swords, and
Ah,
the 7 of Swords says, listen to your intuition to help you see what is being taken away from you or hidden from you right under your nose. You've just met the notorious thief of the tarot, the 7 of Swords card. A smirking man is in the process of sneaking off while carrying 5 swords. He appears to tiptoe away from a tent, yet he leaves 2 swords behind. The yellow background suggests that he does this in broad daylight without attempting to hide what he is doing, since yellow represents conscious awareness. Like all swords, these represent ideas, thoughts, and forms of communication. So the theft taking place does not necessarily represent a physical object being taken by you or from you. And so it's basically, it's not so much that you're being deceived by someone outside of you. It very well could be you that is stealing from yourself. You're almost like deceiving and stealing your own happiness in that sense. Right. And that aligns perfectly with what you just said. That is crazy.
Yeah, because you're fighting with yourself.
Yeah. Huh.
It's time to let that shit go.
Yeah, it's so crazy too. You said that you'll see the star and you'll just go out and grab it. And I personally resonated with that because just the other day I pulled the Tower card, and just it makes sense with everything going on, and I got really excited whenever I saw it, not because nobody enjoys a Tower moment, but the card directly after the Tower is the Star card. And that was what brought me the happiness. It's like it's always darkest before the sun comes,
dawn.
right?
Yeah.
Right before the dawn. And so, you learn to look at things like glass half empty like that. It's not always going to be dark. It's not always going to suck. And most of the time you're the one that has to get out of your own way. And look,
one thing that would really help to remember is it's temporary.
Time heals all wounds, as they say.
Yeah. When you remember it's only temporary, then that will, that should relax you right then. And know while it's temporary, you ask yourself, what is it that I'm learning? Not why is this happening to me? You say, okay, what is it that I'm learning? I know it's temporary, but in that time, I want to know why. Because once you learn, you'll never repeat it again.
That's true. Yeah. And you won't be forced to repeat it again because there's no need in you learning the same lesson over and over again.
Right.
Unless
it's over and done with.
Unless you can pass the test, And I feel like life is a series of tests put on, like, it's almost like our higher self or even ourselves are the ones that are dishing out the tests, and we're almost testing ourselves in the meantime.
If you look at it like lessons instead of tests, because a test is like, what have I learned? Am I going to pass it or am I going to fail it? A lesson, you learn. You learn from lessons.
Good point.
That's all there is to it. You learn from lessons.
I like it.
No one can say they don't. Now, whether you take that knowledge and go on with it, that's up to you.
Yes. Spoken like the wise. Would you be offended by the crone term right now?
No, not at all.
Okay. Yes. I think that's an honorable position personally. But...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm old. I'm wise. I'm crony.
Yes. I love it. Well, Cassandra, it's always so much fun having these conversations with you. And at least me personally, I feel like I'm able to kind of clear off my plate a little bit every time I get the opportunity to be able to talk with you, because you are the oracle, you are the psychic, you are the intuitive, and you know how to speak to my soul rather than speaking to the surface level front that maybe I put up from time to time. So
Well, thank you so much for that.
I
I hope
appreciate.
I've helped all those who listen, because there's a reason, and people who listen, there's a reason too.
Yes, totally agree. Well, look, we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. So, Cassandra, if you would, could you let everybody know where they can find you if they don't already know?
Of course, you can email me at CassandraVanZant@outlook.com. If you call me, I will only answer text from people who I don't know. So you can call me 928-301-1568 and send a text, and I'll get in touch with you. You can look at my website, which is CassandraVanZant.com, and see all the things that I can offer to help you with. I am, like I said, a teacher at heart. So if anyone wants to learn something, whether it's spiritual, from spiritual to anything else, I adapt and I create courses, which I love to do.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I think that's how I actually reached out to you the first time, because my first time ever becoming aware of you, I believe it's so hard to remember the first time you ever meet somebody, but I was just thinking about this, like where did I hear about you first that made me want to reach out to you? And I'm pretty sure my first time ever hearing about you or of you was you've had guest appearances on Forbidden Knowledge News with Chris Matthew, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm pretty sure you gave out your phone number then, and I was like, oh, I gotta reach out, or something. Like I feel like that's a solid, firm memory. But yeah, it's I love that you do that, and it's very personal. It lets people know that you're not just a talking head that's behind a mic or anything like that. You're a real person. I'm
approachable. Yeah.
Yes, very approachable. So I appreciate you, Cassandra. It's always lovely talking with you. So,
and you too.
Well, look, we're going to wrap this up. And if Cassandra VanZant came here and she taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.